The fourth Živa Award ceremony. The Živa Award, award for the best Slavic museum. The Živa Award was established in 2012. The Slavic goddess Živa, also Živia, Siva, Sieba, or Razivia, represents a principle of life, longevity, youthfulness, beauty, mildness, vitality, and fertility. These are the attributes that should describe also the condition of Slavic heritage. With the award, we would like to recognize excellence in the sector of movable and immovable heritage in a special region in Europe, promote best practices in the tangible cultural heritage, and also stimulate the exchange of knowledge and experience throughout our countries and beyond. The Živa Award jury for the fourth edition consisted of 12 experts from the Slavic countries and from the European Museum Academy. The jury has visited all participating and nominated museums in situ, which is a rare and unique practice that enriches both the museums and the Živa judges. The pricelessness of individual experiences is added to their professional evaluations, at which they were this year again looking for the outstanding and creative use of collections, combined with an innovative, interpretative approach. Let's meet the judges of the Živa Award jury in 2017. Biljana Pajković, Montenegro. René Kapovin, Italy. Ekaterina Jumaljeva, Bulgaria. Pavel Dosha, Czech Republic. Irena Duksina, Russian Federation. Neda Knežević, Serbia. Lidia Nekočević, Croatia. Gordan Nikolo, Macedonia. Andrea Richter, Slovenia. Branislav Svetozarjevic, Macedonia. Elia Vlahu, Greece. Sarita Vujković, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Nina Zdravic Polic, Slovenia. She is the chairperson of the Živa Award Jury 2017. 23 museums and galleries from 11 different Slavic countries have applied for the Živa Award in 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, we present the fourth Živa Award candidates for the Best Slavic Museum in 2017. State Literary Museum of Yanka Kupala from Minsk in Belarus. It was established in 1944 with the purpose of preservation of the memory of the national poet of Belarus, Yanka Kupala, research and promotion of his creative legacy. In 2012, to commemorate the poet's 130th anniversary, a new exhibition called Ways, which represents Yanka Kupala's life and legacy in the national, European, and global context, was inaugurated. It demonstrates the writer's role in the history of national and Slavic culture and in the development of the Belarusian statehood. The museum has a wealth of museum objects and collections, including the manuscripts and autographs of the poet, his personal belongings, photographs from different times, rare books, and works of art. National Museum of Bosnia and Herzegovina from Sarajevo in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The museum was officially opened on the 1st of February 1888. From its founding, it has developed as a complex institution of culture and science, dedicated to a number of scientific and scholarly disciplines under the strong influence of scientific and cultural development in the 19th century Europe. With its systematic work on the research of tangible and intangible cultural heritage of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and through activities carried out by generations of its experts, complemented with cooperation with related institutions from all over the world, the museum has given an immeasurable contribution in putting Bosnia and Herzegovina on the cultural map of Europe. Ancient Nessebar Museum from Nessebar in Bulgaria. The millennial history of the town Nessebar is presented at the Archaeological Museum, where a permanent exhibition, Nessebar Over the Centuries, is arranged. Displayed are stone reliefs, sculptures, terracotta, pottery, golden ornaments, coins, and icons. The history of Old Nessebar during the 18th and 19th centuries is told through an ethnographic exposition hosted by an old revival house. 5 of these surviving medieval churches also function as museums, in which preserved mural paintings from the 16th and 17th centuries can be seen, as well as some temporary exhibitions. National Museum Earth and Man from Sofia in Bulgaria. The museum is situated in one of the first concrete constructions in Sofia, built at the end of the 19th century. The building was successfully converted into a museum some 30 years ago to accommodate the second largest collection of giant crystals. Actually, there are only 2 of them in the world. Besides the emblematic giant crystals, the museum hosts 6 permanent and several temporary exhibitions which promote the effective and sustainable use of mineral resources and new materials. As a mineralogical museum, it is proud to preserve the largest collection of mineral species in the Balkans. City Museum Požega from Požega in Croatia. It is a small county museum that has gathered very valuable material in the 92 years of its existence. The material is systematized in about 60 collections. The museum is located in 3 buildings on the main square in Požega, and it is currently in the process of preparing for the future restoration of the building and creating a permanent exhibition. Nevertheless, the museum keeps trying to attract visitors, especially school children, with a range of high-quality exhibitions, educational workshops for all visitors, and interesting projects like a retro barbershop that first opened its doors to the public in 1910 and has recently come to life. Memorial Center Lipa Remembers from Lipa in Croatia. The center was inaugurated in 2015, but it actually existed in the same place from 1968 to 1989 when it was closed. After a strong initiative from the local inhabitants, authorities decided to enroll the museum in revitalization of the permanent exhibition settings, but strictly in accordance with local people. The setting is organized as a memorial place of 269 people who were brutally killed by the Nazis in 1944 when the whole village was burned down and only a few inhabitants survived by chance. The village was rebuilt after World War II. In memory of the life before the horrible event in 1944, photos of the atrocity taken by the Nazis and memories of survivors are the main motifs, while black and white colors of design in the new museum settings are a reflection of a dichotomy, life and death, good and evil, with a strong anti-war message. Museum of Apaxiomenos from Mali Lošin in Croatia. Apaxiomenos is a bronze statue of a young athlete which was found by a tourist diver in 1996 on a seabed in the vicinity of Mali Lošin. It is a unique archaeological find and an extremely well-preserved and beautifully crafted Greek work of great artistic value, presumed to date back to the 2nd or 1st century BC. The conservation and restoration works on the statue lasted for 6 years, after which it toured around numerous exhibitions in Croatia as well as in world-famous museums. 17 years after it was raised from the sea, Apaxiomenos returned to Lošin, to its new home in Mali Lošin, in a museum designed and built just for it. Archaeopark Pavlov from Mikulov na Moravě in Czech Republic. The park presents unique archaeological findings of the earliest settlements under the Pavlova Hills, inhabited by mammoth hunters 30,000 years ago. They compose a new and rare collection, which found its permanent home on the site of the prehistoric settlement of modern Homo sapiens in a new modern museum building constructed with the purpose of protection, research, and preservation of this unique discovery, revealing traces and accomplishments of ancient humans hidden, for thousands of years. Among the most valuable exhibited objects are the skeletons of prehistoric people and precious artistic objects witnessing the aesthetic sensibility of this ancestral population. Town Museum in Dvür Králové nad Labem, from Dvür Králové nad Labem in the Czech Republic. The Town Museum of Dvür Králové nad Labem was founded in 1891 as a regional and local history museum. Based in the Baroque area Kohuto Court, where the three buildings have been preserved from the original estate buildings, the main residential building, the granary, and the stables. The main building has been used for museum purposes since 1978. The permanent exhibitions located in this building are dedicated to the traditional production of Christmas tree decorations, the history of the town and textile industry. The depository, the museum library, and the office are also placed in the main building. Wallachian Open Air Museum in Rožnov pod Radhoštiem, from Rožnov pod Radhoštiem in the Czech Republic. The Museum Society in Rožnov was founded in 1911, and in 1913 the first plan of the Wallachian Open Air Museum was worked out. In 1925, the festival Wallachian Year was held on the grounds of the newly installed Open Air Museum. The original part was later called the Little Wooden Town. The plan of the second part, the Wallachian Village, was made in the 1950s and realized in the following decade. The construction of the third part of the museum, the Watermill Valley, was launched in 1982. At present, the most important aim is to revive the forgotten traditional technological methods, folk art, and customs, and the reconstruction of social life, trades, and ways of entertainment of our ancestors. Puppet Museum in Pilsen, from Pilsen in the Czech Republic. The museum, located in the historical building at the Pilsen Square, explores several centuries of the strong puppet tradition on the background of Czech history. The connection between the most famous puppets and the turning points of their history present a complex cultural and historical experience for visitors, who in chronological order pass through the atmosphere of the ancient touring theaters and travel all the way to the contemporary form of puppet theater. The Puppet Museum is a modern interactive space focusing on effective education of puppet history and practice. The connection of cognitive and practical activities creates a unique museum experience designed for all ages. National Institution for Protection of the Monuments of Culture and Museum, from Ohrid in Macedonia. Ohrid has a very long museum tradition. For 400 years, from 1516 till 1916, the Church of the Mother of God, Peribleptos, served as a treasury of the Ohrid Archbishopric. Ohrid had an archbishopric museum much before the Louvre, 1739, and the British Museum, 1753, which makes it one of the oldest in Europe. The museum was renewed in 1950, but was opened in 1951. The wealth of monuments and their value led to the establishment of the Municipal Institute for Protection of Cultural Monuments in September 1962. In 1973, these two institutions merged into one, the Institute for Protection of the Monuments of Culture and National Museum Ohrid, which works to this day. Museum of Polimlje, from Berane in Montenegro. The aim of the museum is to chronologically, territorially, and thematically present the history of the Upper Polimlje. There is also a gallery in the museum with the permanent exhibition of paintings of the local artist Miodrag Mišo Popović. The museum possesses about 10,000 objects dated from the Mesolithic period, the Middle Stone Age, to the Neolithic period, the Bronze and Copper Age, the Roman period, the Middle Ages, up to objects from the 19th century. The Museum of Polimlje carries out the following activities: museum activities, protection of the monuments of culture, gallery and publishing, and educational activities. Polish Aviation Museum, from Krakow in Poland. The museum is the oldest and biggest aviation museum in Central Europe. It is located in the former airfield, one of the oldest military airfields in Europe. Founded in 1964, the museum preserves and exhibits aircraft, engines, and other items of importance to the world's aviation heritage, and these form a premier European collection. Today's collection consists of over 200 aircraft, and many of them are really rare. Several of the aircraft displayed are unique on a world scale, like the World War I collection, part of a newly set exhibition called Wings of the Great War. The museum is a proud owner of more than 200 aircraft engines. It is one of the biggest collections in the world. Silesian Museum from Katowice in Poland. The museum comprises a building complex erected at the site of the former mine and represents a perfect combination of the region's identity with state-of-the-art architectural solutions. Impressive spaces are vast and modern and at the same time maintain the memory of a place, which closely corresponds with the museum's cultural policy. The new building of the Silesian Museum, raised as a result of local inhabitants' needs and some brave decisions, has quickly and naturally become the crucial cultural center of the region, a remarkably important Silesian social life hub, and a significant contributor on the cultural map of Poland. House of the merchant G.V. Tetushinov from Astrakhan in the Russian Federation. The Museum and Cultural Center was opened in 2010. It has become a platform for the revival of ancient traditions and has been associated with the unique artistic and spiritual culture of the Astrakhan region. It is located in a merchant building resembling an old Russian palace. This is the only preserved sample of wooden architecture of the 19th century in the lower Volga region. On the ground floor of the house, there are exhibition halls for temporary exhibitions of decorative applied art, paintings, and exhibits from private collections. On the second floor, there is a permanent historical exhibition featuring the life of a merchant of Astrakhan in the second half of the 19th century. Glinka National Museum Consortium of Musical Culture from Moscow in the Russian Federation. The institution is an unparalleled treasury of musical culture heritage. The unique collection of musical and literary manuscripts, rare books, and printed music keeps and promotes the legacy of great Russian composers and musicians. The consortium consists of the Central Museum of Musical Culture, the Memorial Apartment of Alexander Goldenweiser, the Memorial Apartment of Nikolai Golovanov, the Fyodor Chaliapin Memorial Estates, the Peter Tchaikovsky and Moscow Museum, the Sergei Prokofiev Museum, and the Sergei Tuneyev Memorial House, established in 2017. The consortium's holdings include about 3,000 musical instruments from all countries of the world, the collection of rare musical instruments of the Slavic peoples, and the state collection of unique musical instruments of the Russian Federation. Pushkin Museum Reserve from Mikhailovskoye in the Russian Federation. The museum is a unique place where poetry and nature, literature and life merge together. Mikhailovskoye is the birthplace of the Russian national poetic genius Alexander Pushkin. Today, the museum reserve unites the memorial estates with their magnificent gardens and parks, the patrimony of the Pushkin's family, Mikhailovskoye, and the estates of the poet's friends and ancestors, Trigorskoye and Pertoskoye. On the territory of the museum, there's also a working watermill, a peasant homestead, as well as the ancient sites which were of great importance for the defense of the state and the development of trade relations between Russia and Europe in the Middle Ages. The main sacred place of this territory is the grave of Alexander Pushkin. Matsura Museum from Novi Banoci in Serbia. The museum functions primarily as an institution entrusted with the task of preserving, studying, and exhibiting art and historical objects from its founder's collection. Even though both the general and the professional public have had the opportunity to get acquainted, either in fragmentary or general terms, with its basic content, only now will it be possible to conduct a detailed professional and comparative analysis of this highly intriguing historical, artistic, and collateral material. Even though it is subject to daily changes, characteristic of all emerging collections, this material can be classified using a combination of very diverse codes. On the other hand, a morphological functional approach would entail a division into paintings, sculptures, chairs, objects, installations, video works, photographs, drawings, artist books, letters, projects, applied art objects, books, and periodicals. Open Air Museum Old Village in Sirogojno in Serbia. The Old Village was established in 1980 as a heritage site. In the beginning, the site was connected to massive knitting hand production that gathered more than 3,000 women from the Mount Zlatibor, which counts 16,000 inhabitants. The museum was, and still is, an open platform for local community participation in the creation of contents, similar to eco-museums' principles, as well as a space for numerous associates and volunteers from all around the world. Today, the museum is the connecting point, a meeting place of cultures, philosophies, and lifestyles. The Old Village is anything but old. It is the engine of development of this rural area, the pride of locals, and window to the world. Museum of Post and Telecommunications from Polhov Gradec in Slovenia. The museum was founded in 1985 and relocated to the picturesque surroundings of the Polhov Gradec Hills in 2008, when the revised permanent collections were rehoused in the Polhov Gradec mansion. The mansion hosts 2 permanent collections as well as Živa's Corner, which is intended for the youngest museum visitors. The history of post gives an overview of postal transportation, including models of post carriages, post offices from different periods, and post workers' uniforms. Visitors can listen to the melodies of a post horn, write with an ink-dip pen, and watch an animated film about a postman, as well as other archive films. Another part of the museum is dedicated to the history of telecommunications. Park of Military History Puka from Puka in Slovenia. The park is a museum tourist center located in the old Puka barracks complex. The barracks were built by the Kingdom of Italy around 1930 in order to defend the Rapallo border, and from 1945 to 1991 they were home to the Yugoslav People's Army. Since 2004, the Park of Military History has been developing within the complex, becoming the largest museum in Slovenia, as well as one of the largest military historical complexes in this part of Europe. Visitors of the park can enjoy several important exhibitions and collections. The key exhibition displays the establishment of the Slovenian state and its war for independence in 1991, while special interest is also evoked by the collection of tanks, artillery, aircraft, and a submarine as the largest museum exhibit. Slovenian Alpine Museum from Mojstrana in Slovenia. The museum preserves the mountaineering tradition of the Slovenian nation by displaying historical activities of the Slovenians in domestic and foreign mountains, and by showing the beauty and value of the mountain world. It educates the young in the spirit of mountaineering and respect for nature. The permanent exhibition is based on the concept of a museum story, which we experience through our own climb up the mountain. A rich movie and photo material and interactive contents are presented in 11 theme groups. This way, we get to know the history, the mountain routes, the reasons, the dangers, and joys of mountaineering. And as we reach the destination, we are, as every mountain climber, rewarded with a spectacular view. The Živa Award ceremony took place in Slovenia in Bled, Slovenia's Alpine Pearl. At the special ceremony, the Živa Award jury handed nominations to all 23 candidates for the 4th Živa Award. They also handed out 5 special recognitions. For leadership, to the State Literary Museum of Janka Kupala from Minsk in Belarus. For good use of resources, to the Glinka National Museum Consortium of Musical Culture from Moscow in the Russian Federation. For creativity, to the Matsura Museum from Novi Banoci in Serbia. For storytelling, to the Wallachian Open Air Museum in Roshnov from the Czech Republic. And for openness, to the visitors to the Silesian Museum from Katowice in Poland. The Živa Award jury handed an honorable mention to the State Memorial Historical Literary and Natural Landscape Museum Reserve of A.S. Pushkin from Mikhailovskoye in the Russian Federation. The jury announced the winner of the Živa Award 2017, the Slovenian Alpine Museum from Mojstrana in Slovenia.